Welcome to The Early Days, brought to you by Proust Chown. My name is Jackie Rae. I am your host, and my special guest today is the 1992 Memorial Cup champion from the Kamloops Blazers hockey team. But we're not going to talk about that. Rob LeLacheur,
Aren't we going to talk hockey? That was such a great intro.
Oh, it was.
Hey,
that was a
Jackie.
long time ago.
That was a few years ago. Yeah, played a little junior hockey back in the day and won the Memorial Cup. But honestly, more importantly, I was able to play in 2 Memorial Cups, and we lost the first one I was in. So I got to taste from both sides of the cup, and it sure gave me a greater appreciation the day we won it.
I believe it.
Yep.
And I would think you think about sports. That leads into any person's business life, because I know as my background as a competitive curler, that helped me in my job.
Learn to deal with losing.
Yeah, and no money.
It sucks. Yeah.
And no money at all. But it teaches you teamwork, teaches you goal setting.
Oh, 100%. I left home when I was 16 to play junior hockey, and so you grew up really quick. and
grow up.
Making decisions, and not all of them good when you're out on your own. But that sense of team camaraderie, and some of my best friends today, come back from those days. So
I believe that. Yeah. We're going to talk with your current company, which is Road 55, which, full disclosure, produces all of the Early Days by Proust Chown.
Yes, I was. They were nice enough to ask me to share my early days story, and I'm okay. Let's do it.
And the early days too for you, because you came out of Nate.
Yeah.
And your first job was in media.
100%. To this day, I still stay very involved with Nate, proud to be an alumni there, do a lot of work with the marketing and sales and the entrepreneurship center. But as a grad out of Nate, I was fortunate to land a work experience role with the Edmonton Sun. Can't say enough good things about the practicum experience of get in there, kind of show them what you can do, and when opportunity presents itself, you're there already, and they'd love nothing more to try and make it work. And I was literally told, I think about 3 days before my practicum ended, we have nothing for you, which I was a little dismayed, but things changed, and literally the next day, an assistant had left, and Rob, you're in. And I wrote my last exam in Nate, got in my car, and an hour later, I was working in the Edmonton Sun advertising department.
I love that. So what did you graduate with from Nate?
I was in the business marketing program. Back in the day where we were up in the old airport, the old airport tower. That was the business school there, and it's a beautiful facility today. But we had it pretty good. It was okay.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. So now you're working at the Edmonton Sun. How many years did you work there?
So between I had a few different versions of working in the newspaper business, and so started at the Edmonton Sun, and what a great time. Newspapers were still making a few bucks.
For you young kids watching, a newspaper.
It's got the funnies in the back, all that stuff. But it was definitely at the high point of newspaper, the business, the industry, doing really well. But I truly appreciate it to this day. I worked for the definitive number 2 in the market. Mm-hmm. And it really instilled in me a sense of expect nothing. Like we got to go out, we got to stir up every bit of business that we get. No one's calling us. And the Journal, strong powerhouse that we got to compete with. And actually my very first territory at the Edmonton Sun was called the Journal exclusive list. They said, okay, Rob, here's 100 advertisers, haven't spent any money in the Sun in the last 2 years. They're advertising, go get them. So I literally had nowhere to go but up, and take some, back to my hockey days, take some good punches along.
I believe it.
Along the way,
and
learn to deal with that adversity. My favorite sales call, which I was unsuccessful, but I was proud that I made the call, was I think it was the 25th anniversary of the Sun, where I phoned the publisher of the Edmonton Journal, Linda Hughes, to try and get her to buy an ad.
Brilliant.
Because not a lot of people know this, but the Journal, Bill Hunter sold the Edmonton Journal a full-page ad in the very first edition of the Edmonton Sun. And those cocky, blah, blah, blahs, they put this like, you're not going to make it through the year type message and talk about a rallying call for everyone. And they paid the money to do that. So, yeah, but Linda, she didn't bite the second time. Even my boss is, oh yeah, we'll totally run it if they can say whatever they want.
We love that.
We will put it in. But really fast pace, unforgiving on deadlines. So it was sell, go, 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 and the press waits for no one. So really develop those, the urgency and the deadline and starting early days building networks.
But what's the mindset going in? Because I'm sure for any entrepreneur starting out and just getting going, where, especially you coming out of a sports background, where it's always, hey, Rob, oh my God, you're a great hockey player. Oh, you're so good. You're great. And then suddenly you're in the business world and you're going, no, we don't want your advertising. You're number two.
Yeah.
That's got to be hard to your mindset.
Well, I'll touch on it in a little bit here, a bit of my approach to the numbers side of things, but I think it's just going into it with an understanding and a resilience that if literally everyone's going to say yes, there would be nothing to it. And you've got to have that ability to, I would always joke that, look, I saw your lips moving, but I didn't hear a damn word that you said. And what was great in the media business and something we enjoy today is with the creative element of what we do, what we did then too. If an idea didn't connect or a certain pitch didn't connect, they're still in business the next day, the next week, the next month. Okay, great. I'll come back and see you again. And that constant challenge to try and win them over with a new creative approach and be a different audience or a different look and feel. And I love that part. I love that challenge, if you will, of they haven't said no forever, albeit some were quite explicit in their no's to us, but you always had that chance to go back. I didn't fully answer your question on all the newspapers. So through the years, I was publisher of a weekly newspaper. I owned a weekly newspaper for a number of years, and then came back to the roots of the dailies when Post Media and Sun Media merged together. And that was my last role before starting Road 55.
I think you had one little blip in the. I remember working with you at Apex Casino because we had staff Christmas parties there.
I had a gambling chapter in there. It was a pretty cool. It was out in left field, but it was driven by their need of. They never really had anyone with sales or marketing background on their leadership team, and I think it was about 2006. The world was about to get pretty competitive as Century and River Cree were opening. I joke that their marketing before that consisted of unlock the front door. We're the only game in town.
Yeah.
5 years I was GM of a casino and lots of fun, lots of great lessons learned. It's just a different widget. You got your front of house, your back of house, doesn't matter, newspapers, restaurants, casinos. It's amazing how many of the similar issues present themselves.
So now with Road 55, which your cell line is creating content that matters. Talk about this little brainchild of a thing bubbling in Rob LeLacheure's head.
So my last role with Post Media, I was the manager of content solutions for the Prairies. So it was an awesome role and honestly a great bridge to building Road 55. I was tasked with helping over 100 sales reps in the country learn to utilize content for the purpose of marketing. The days of selling the quarter page ad, the disruptive marketing was coming, working its way to the end. And in the spirit of trying to, capture attention, earn it, keep it, all of that, how to use video, articles, infographics, podcasts, etc., to do that. During those 2 years, it really became evident in every meeting, along with what I'll nicely call the death spiral of newspapers that they were constantly managing down, which it weighed on you after a while. But every meeting, it used to be what we sold held all the value. We had the widget. If you want to talk to these people, you kind of have to go through us. But all of a sudden, everyone had access to the tools themselves. They They could film, they could pictures, they could write, do their own social media. It became more of, we don't know what to do. We don't know the ideas and the strategy. So that became what I saw as the value proposition. And I said, okay, I think that's what I'm going to build Road 55 on. So left the newspaper. My dear old mentor, John Caputo, who hired me out of Nate, I joke to this day, he's the one who took me out because they wanted to move me into another role. And I'm like, no. He's like, you know what happens? I'm like, yeah, you're gonna take me out. But I was fully prepared at that point to start Road 55, which honestly, I wasn't even quite sure what it was at the beginning, other than I knew traditional, digital, social really well. And I figured, okay, we're gonna start every conversation with no bias to any particular avenue and just really focus on the ideas and the strategies of how we can help clients create content that connects and connect with the audience that they wanna connect and use the different tools, because spoiler alert, it takes a little bit of everything. There truly is no silver bullet in marketing these days. And if it is, it's pretty short-lived. Everyone jumps in the pool and the prices go up, the engagement goes down, and you're left back to the tradition of, well, you can't cheat the system. You can't hack your way there. So with literally a laptop and a corner of a friend's desk, I started Road 55. And I tell everyone to this day, the first dollar I spent was the first dollar I made. Like it literally had no capital to...
Well, yeah, you have no I was just about to say that's all you're starting with. So how do you make that first sale? It's got to be, again, somebody that knows you, that thinks, okay, I'm gonna, Rob's got an idea here.
Well, back to day one of starting in the media business, I was quite focused on the networking side of things, really involved with the Chamber of Commerce and business groups in the community. And I guess the greatest equity I held on day one was me, that they knew me, they trusted me. And I had the first few came through the door with we have no idea what you're gonna do for us, but we trust you. We know you have a lot of great ideas, a couple dumb ones, but that's okay too.
But you need that.
I talk about that lots on the front end. I said, look, like we're going to discover some terrible ways. And believe me, I'm working hard to minimize or never have them, but we'll never find the great stuff if we're not prepared to try some different things along the way. So yeah, that was the earliest of days coming out and I'm out there again selling that strategy of creating a strategic content campaign, and we'll do your social media for you, handle your newsletters, your paid ads, all of that, and it just slowly grew and grew till that good old COVID came along. and about half of our existence has been under that shadow, but we got through that period.
So how do you start to build your team then? Because here you are, you probably can't even pay yourself.
I wasn't. Yeah.
So you've got to, now I need a team. It can't just be you that's putting together all this content.
Again, back to old connections and friends. Trevor Cousineau, who's been with me, not day one, but pretty close to. It was about 3 months in.
So fellow Paul K grad like me from St. Albert, smart man.
Just great guy, he had a significant experience in the television industry and knows the gear inside and out and editing and all that. And he, just as I suffered from the disruption of the newspaper world, the TV world was being severely disrupted and just quite honestly had left him with not many avenues to pursue. And he called me out of the blue and said, "You need me." And I'm like, I have no clients yet, Trev. And so we went for a drink, we sat down, and it was a leap of faith, and it wasn't much, but I'm like, look, I can pay you this little bit. And honestly, you can work an hour or you can work 100 hours. We're not having that conversation. Like, you're just going to do whatever we need to do. But I commit to, I will grow your pay every month, and it's on me to go get new clients. And Yeah, he's still with us
He's
today.
still with you.
And I proudly say his earnings have significantly grown from that first month, and we got through that period. I think having Trevor join us, coupled with my experience, and then the studio, that corner desk I talked about was in a shared studio. We were in the old CKUA building on Jasper Avenue and 106th Street. Mm-hmm. And we were up on the roof, and the craziest place to get to, you literally took the elevator to the 5th floor, you walked outside, you walked across the roof, upstairs, and then into our shared studio.
But it was a hell of a deal.
Hell of a deal. But I didn't know that I needed a studio at that point. I needed the corner of a desk. So all of a sudden, Trevor's in my life. We have access to this studio, and we literally borrowed a friend's camera for our first couple of videos. We own nothing, right? And borrowing a friend's digital camera and to shoot our first kind of series of videos. And that was the start.
Oh, gee. And that first sale, you just and suddenly you're going, okay, now I'm feeding other people, so we've got to make sure this crazy idea I have in my head works. You're onto something, but now you've got to put it into the wheels in motion.
Even to this day, Jackie, I feel so optimistic about today and the future. And honestly, I never felt that for the last 6 years of the newspaper world. Okay. Like I said, we were managing hanging on and decline. Today, we're a friend nicely says to me, like, Rob, video is your superpower. And we kind of position ourselves where, look, there's the kid in the basement and there's the major production houses. Our pricing's closer to that kid in the basement, but our finished work is much closer to that major production house. Yep. And so we're nicely in the middle. We have a tight team of 6. And even at the beginning, Jackie, I said to myself, I don't want to wake up one day and have this cubicle farm of 30, 40 people. Oh man, I've got to manage all this. Honestly, I struggle a little bit today we want growth. We want to keep going, but there's still that little bit of, maybe it's from my casino days when I had 150 staff who spend 90% of my day on HR issues. Exactly. That's constantly ringing in my brain. But we're after growth and just trying to. I said from the beginning, if we assemble this core team with an amazing level of expertise that has a little bit of a Swiss Army knife that they can sell, they can manage, they can shoot video, they can edit, all of these things. We can handle probably 90% of the work that comes through. And then we are in a position of resource. We know a lot from all of our connections, and it's decades worth between, Trevor and Glenn and myself and Kyla and our team, that lots of great folks that we can reach out to help us on different projects.
So if somebody's watching the early days and you would go, oh, wish I hadn't done that as I was starting a business. Do you have one of the, we talked earlier about, you need to make mistakes to move things forward, but then also, wow, wish I'd known that.
I wouldn't call it so much of a mistake, but I do struggle a little bit today of probably back to that, I didn't spend the dollar until I got a dollar. So maybe I'm just way too frugal and cheap, whatever you want to call me, but taking that comfort of looking ahead and making that investment in people and equipment, and we don't have a lot of places to hide, right? If someone new joins our team, there has to be revenue associated with it. So it's that constant keeping those horses running side by each. And I don't think I've done the best job of investing or just keep looking ahead. I'm a little on the cautious side.
Yeah, you don't want to go into debt to make something
But we've done things where, about 2 years ago, just coming out of COVID, where I made a decision we're going to build the studio. I think this is the COVID 1.0 plan, where the talking Zoom head's just not going to do it anymore. People need to level up. for their messaging. And then when we came out of COVID, that there was going to be a desire for the hybrid, where people would still, they want to do this in front of people, but no one will want to lose that ability, whether they're streaming it out to their audiences or recording it, packaging it for later. So, again, it's a constant struggle of cash flow, but I'm trying to get better at it. I'm trying to realize when I look at everything that scared the hell out of me at each stage of, do we buy these high-end cameras? Do we, the studio? We recently bought our studio. We bought the building we're in, and so, like, believe me, scared the heck out of me all along the way. But I look back and it's gonna be all right.
It's gonna be all right.
Just do what you can control, and the other things will fall into place. We're fortunate. We're in a industry, or what we do can work in all kinds of different industries, all kinds of different locations. If something falls out of favor, like a poor old newspaper, even though I know of some that they're killing it right now. It's amazing, like, and how well they're doing. But the generalness of it is not so great opportunity looking ahead to what we're doing, and that excites me. And just sometimes just got to go for it. But back to that what I can control, and this is my personal, I run by it every day, motto, whatever you want to call it, is the 5x5. I do 5 things every day, 5 days a week, to grow the business. Now that can be anything, Jackie, from going for a coffee with someone, creating a piece of content, writing a newsletter, making a cold call. There's all kinds of variations. It sounds so simple and not a very big number, but I honestly say it's a number I probably fail to hit most weeks, but I'm mindful of it every day. And every day I really believe that I can't control when someone's budget changes or our key contact moves on to a different role. There's all these different things totally out of our control. That's just gonna, ebbs and flows that way. I can fully control the inputs, and that's really been my driver. That I think has helped us get to, at the end of the week. If I do those 25 things, I have a lot of confidence that we're going to have 2 or 3 really good conversations with someone, and that's going to lead to that opportunity.
And you're moving the business forward. Like one of your 25 was, I have to hire a brilliant host for the early days. Brought to you by Krause Chow.
We're still looking, Jackie, if you know of any.
Ouch! And on that note, I'm so proud of you. Road 55 is a great vision, because you do create content, but it also connects, and that's the most important thing, because
Thanks,
that's for a client. It's gotta work for the client, right?
100%.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob. Too much fun.
Thank you.
This series is proudly produced by the team at Road 55. Road 55 creates content that connects. For more information, check our website, www.road55.ca.